You're listening to the Life Coaching Secrets Podcast, episode 239. Did you know that life coaches are needed now more than ever? I'm Frank Macri, founder of Thriving Coach Academy. I've trained over 1,000 coaches and helped them launch their own successful coaching businesses. If you want to make an incredible income and impact as a coach and have a lot of fun doing it, I'll show you exactly how to get it done. This is Life Coaching Secrets. What's up, coaches? In this episode, we're going to talk about what I call the price of admission. So let me ask you something. What is something that you say you really want, but you still haven't gone after? Maybe a dream you've been putting off until later or someday. And what do you imagine it would cost you to finally go for it? Because in this episode, we're talking about something most people never consider. The price of admission. Not just the cost of chasing your dreams, but the hidden cost of not chasing them. Because the truth is, in life, you're always paying a price, whether you are pursuing the life you want or staying in the safety of the familiar. So if you've been feeling stuck or wondering why certain goals just feel out of reach, this episode is going to shift everything. I'm going to help you see the trade-offs you've been making consciously or unconsciously and show you why paying the price for a life you love is always worth it. And I'm so excited to dive into this. So here's the big idea for this episode I want you to take away. The most meaningful pursuits in life are rarely easy, but they are always worth it. Now, we often fantasize that a purpose-filled path should feel smooth and effortless. But the reality is, anything truly meaningful, whether it be starting a business or creating a deep love or raising a family or growing into your potential in whatever way, that requires something from you. They ask you to stretch, to make and take risks, to show up again and again, even when it's uncomfortable. The idea of everything being easy, it's so overrated because what's easy rarely transforms you. What's comfortable rarely grows you. The reason that meaningful pursuits feel hard isn't because you're doing them wrong, it's because they matter. You're creating a new identity, you're rewriting your rules, and you're stepping into unknown territory. And that's not supposed to be easy, but it's always worth it because it changes who you are at your core. You don't look back in your life and feel proud of what was easy, right? You look back and feel proud of what you showed up for, even when it was hard. Those bold decisions that you made, the courageous conversations you didn't avoid, and those fears that you faced. That's what creates meaning. That's what builds a life you're proud to call yours. Not because it was easy, but because you were willing to pay the price for something truly extraordinary. So I want to share some questions with you to reflect on as we go deeper into this episode. What is something that you say you really want in life, but you've been postponing? What's a goal or dream you've held in your heart for years, but haven't taken real action on yet? So let's talk about this term, price of admission. Price of admission is the hidden cost that comes with every meaningful goal, dream, or transformation. It's the discomfort or the challenge that you must be willing to face in order to have access to the life that you say you want. Just like when you go to a concert or an amusement park, there's a ticket to get inside. When you step into a bigger version of your life, it requires something from you in return, whether that's vulnerability or risk or failure or rejection or uncertainty. And most people crave the reward, but they resist the price. They think they can just skip the hard parts and still win. But what's often overlooked is that not pursuing your dreams also has a price. When you play it safe or stay comfortable, it might feel easy in the short term, but it comes with its own hidden toll, which is regret, boredom, disconnection, health issues, or a life half lived. So the question isn't whether you'll pay. The question is what you're paying for. And the people who live fulfilling lives aren't the ones who avoid paying the price. They're the ones who decide the outcome that is worth it. I often say that there's going to be discomfort no matter what path you take in life. I call it the illusion of discomfort. We think that it's only uncomfortable to pursue your big goals and dreams, but there's also the discomfort of staying where you are. So since there's going to be discomfort anyway, you might as well choose the discomfort that's going to lead you to the life that you want to live. So why is it so important to understand this concept of the price of admission? The reason is because without it, you unconsciously chase fantasy versions of success. And whenever resistance shows up, whenever you experience rejection or you feel afraid or you hit roadblocks, you might interpret that as a sign to stop or never begin altogether. You might think something's wrong, but really the reality is you're just paying the price that everyone else pays. When you don't understand this, what happens is you become a professional dabbler, meaning you start things, you experience some friction, you back out, so you dabble in something else. You expect transformation to just feel smooth and safe, and whenever it doesn't, you retreat back into the comfort and tell yourself, okay, maybe that just wasn't meant for me. And then your standards go down and your dreams continue to shrink. And over time, this creates a life filled with silent regret, not because you couldn't have more, it's just because you weren't willing to pay the toll it required. So what are some examples of some ambitions we have in life where there's the price of admission? Well, in our career, maybe you want to become a successful entrepreneur. Well, the price of admission to get there is you're going to risk failure and criticism and have doubts come up. Maybe it's elevating your career and landing a dream job. Well, the price of admission is years of building certain skills and experiencing rejections. Maybe it's going through some time of unpaid or low paid job opportunities to get there. When it comes to our relationships and love, if you want to have deep lasting love, what's the price of admission for that? Vulnerability, having heartbreak, learning hard truths about yourself, having uncomfortable conversations. If it's fitness related, if you want to have a strong, fit body, well, what's the price of admission? Being consistent, having physical discomfort, changing eating habits, delaying gratification. If there's any kind of creative pursuit you have, like maybe you want to master a skill, like write a book or get good at photography or learn an instrument, well, the price of admission is consistency, repetition, experiencing setbacks and failures as you go. And I think one of the most important areas of our life is just overall living your truth. Like this is the big one, living your truth. Living your truth and choosing authenticity, there's a price that comes with that a lot of people don't like to talk about. When you choose to live an authentic life, that means the price of admission is you're going to have rejection. You might have isolation at times where you feel alone. You may have judgment from others and possibly outgrow relationships. But there's also this profound inner alignment that comes with living your truth. When you decide to show up as your real self, honest, aligned, unfiltered, you're going to ruffle feathers. Some people won't understand you. You might lose approval. You might lose relationships or just the sense of safety that comes from fitting in. You ever have that happen where you're fitting in, but you know that you're holding back? That's the price. But what you gain is far greater. And it's so important to realize with your goals and dreams, you must focus on what is the gain. The gain is so much more valuable than the price. When you choose to live authentically, you trade external validation, like needing everyone's approval, for internal freedom. You get to be free, knowing that you're living your truth. You stop betraying yourself just to be liked. You stop twisting and shrinking to fit into spaces that were never meant for you. So yes, living an authentic life comes with a cost, but in return, it gives you your power back, gives you your voice and your peace. So the question really becomes, is it worth losing approval from others to finally approve of yourself? And if you're willing to pay that price, what you'll gain is a life that actually feels like yours. And I'll ask you the question one more time. Is it worth losing approval from others to finally approve of yourself? Now, there are some pushbacks people have when it comes to understanding success and achieving their goals. And I'm going to go through some of those pushbacks and myths that people believe. Number one is thinking, shouldn't it be easy if it was meant to be? There's this idea that anything that's truly aligned should feel smooth, effortless, and just free of resistance. And it's often talked about in the personal development space. A lot of people might say, oh, only do it if it feels easy. Only do it if it feels like it's a natural flow. And while flow can be a sign of alignment, challenge is not necessarily a sign of misalignment. Sometimes the things most aligned with your growth will stretch you the most. So ease doesn't mean alignment. Familiarity feels easy, even though it often keeps you stuck. So if you only pursue things that feel easy, you'll end up living a life that's very small but safe. So what if the very presence of challenge is confirmation that you are growing? When you have struggle, it's not evidence that you're unworthy, it's evidence that you're stretching. And if you're facing resistance, it likely means you're on the edge of your current identity. This is not a failure. This is transformation happening in real time. Oftentimes people mistake their fear or unfamiliarity as a warning sign when really it's just your nervous system reacting to something new, right? If you spent most of your life playing it safe, growth is going to feel uncomfortable. And that's not because you're on the wrong path. It's because you're just in unfamiliar terrain. That's all it is. You're just encountering the price of admission. So instead of asking, why isn't this easier? Try asking, what if this challenge is simply the toll to cross into the life I truly want? What if this resistance is proof that I'm moving beyond who I used to be? What if the discomfort means I'm on the right track? Another common pushback that I hear when it comes to living the life you want is people think, isn't this a toxic mindset? Is this about embracing a grind culture where you need to suffer your way to being successful? I want to be really clear that what I'm talking about is not about glorifying burnout or struggle. It's about honoring the emotional courage and the trade-offs that growth requires. So the price, when I talk about a price of admission, that price doesn't have to be self-sacrifice or misery. Sometimes it's just being willing to feel discomfort, uncertainty, and fear, and choosing to act anyway. Toxic grind culture says you're only worthy if you're constantly doing, pushing, and sacrificing. And that's not what this is about. This mindset is about conscious choice, realizing that any worthwhile goal requires something from you in exchange. So the price isn't always about doing more. Sometimes it's about feeling more. It's about saying no to the things you used to tolerate, risking being misunderstood to stay in your integrity. It's not about forcing or grinding. It's about choosing the version of discomfort that leads to freedom instead of the version that keeps you stuck. Because either way, you're going to feel discomfort. So the question becomes, is it the pain of growth or the pain of regret? It's such an important question to have. Is this the pain of growth or is this the pain of regret? You're going to have either of those pains. Choose the pain of growth instead of the pain of regret. Now you might be thinking, what if I pay the price and I still don't get what I want? What if I give it everything I've got and it still doesn't work out? That fear is real. And it often keeps people frozen, not just the fear of failure, but the fear of wasted effort or looking foolish. But here's what I want you to consider. You can't lose by going all in on yourself. Even if you don't get the exact outcome you imagined, you'll become someone you're proud of. You'll build resilience, courage, and strength. You'll know what it feels like to be fully alive rather than stuck in the loop of what if. When I got into coaching my first year, I thought in my first year of coaching, I was going to be making hundreds of thousands of dollars and leading retreats and doing all these incredible things. And after my first year, I didn't have any of that happen, but I also didn't have any regret, right? Because I grew so much as a person. I was so proud of all of the perseverance I had and all the confidence that I built. All those successes happened in due time, but it was there was still no regret, even though it didn't unfold in the exact way I thought it would in the beginning. And more often than not, when you show up fully, the result that you get might not be the one that you plan. Like I just shared, it probably won't be exactly as you planned, but it's often even better, because I also told myself that even if I pursued coaching and I didn't start a full-time coaching business, I still am going to have the ultimate life skill that I could use to achieve any goal that I have. So there was no losing by learning the skill of coaching. It's going to lead to a net positive gain overall. When you avoid risk, anything that seems risky, it's not protecting you at all. It's just guaranteeing that you never find out. You don't get to skip the price, but when you pay it, you earn something priceless, which is your own evolution. And that version of you is the one who showed up boldly and faced their fear and kept going. That's the person who can create any life they want. So it is always worth it to pursue the path that stretches you, regardless of where you end up, because it allows you to become stronger. It allows you to understand how to face your fears, which is going to serve you in all areas of your life. Now, a lot of people also get stuck because they don't want to sacrifice anything. And I don't really use this word at all, the word sacrifice. A lot of people think like going after your dream life means giving up a lot of time and freedom, relationships, and comfort. But I want you to understand, like I have a reframe around it. You're not sacrificing anything, you're choosing, right? You're choosing to spend more time on this and less time on this. You're honoring different priorities. Something is only a sacrifice if you label it as such. You're just trading something that's less aligned with something more meaningful. You're not giving up something for nothing. You're making a conscious investment in the life you actually want. The truth is, anything worthwhile requires prioritization. Saying yes to something meaningful will mean saying no to something else. But that's not a loss. It's just clarity. That's you deciding what really matters most to you. So instead of thinking, what do I have to sacrifice? Try asking, what do I want badly enough that I'm willing to rearrange my life for it? That's not sacrifice. That's power. That's alignment. That's how you know you're ready. I want you to understand you're always paying a price. Even when you don't pursue your dreams, if you stay small, if you stay quiet, if you cling to comfort, you're still paying. It just looks different. So I want to talk about the price of not going after your goals, because it's more subtle and sometimes it's more socially accepted. But it's far more devastating in the long run because it shows up as regret, restlessness, this quiet dissatisfaction you can't shake. A feeling that, maybe you were made for more, but you'll never know for sure. People tend to think that taking a leap is risky, but what's often ignored is the risk of not taking any leap at all, right? When you don't start the business, you pay with your freedom and potential. When you don't pursue love, you pay with loneliness and disconnection. When you avoid discomfort, you pay with a lifetime of wondering what could have been. The price may not be upfront, but the bill always comes due. So the question isn't, will I have to pay a price? It's, what kind of pain are you choosing? Growth or regret? This is a huge question. You don't get to avoid the toll, but you do get to choose the destination. I want you to think about an unfulfilled goal or dream you have right now. Maybe it's starting a business, becoming a coach, or publishing a book, whatever it might be. What has it already cost you to not go after what you want? What does it already cost you? I know these are sometimes uncomfortable questions, but they give you so much clarity. If nothing were to change, what will your life look like 1 year from now? What would it be like? If your current life is fine, what are you giving up to settle for fine instead of extraordinary or instead of fulfilling? What are you giving up to settle for fine? Now, I also want to invite you to consider that what if part of the price of admission to your next chapter is going all in, not just hoping or dipping your toe in, but really backing yourself fully, even financially. We've been conditioned to think that learning ends after college and that once you get your degree, you're done. But the truth is, some of the most important transformative learning happens after schooling. When you're finally learning for you, not for a grade or for a diploma. When you invest in yourself as an adult, that's not indulgent, it's responsible. It's how you evolve. And if you want to live an extraordinary life, you need to keep growing on purpose. We normalize spending tens of thousands on college, often without knowing if the path will pay off. But when it comes to investing that same amount or less into a skill, into a calling, or a business that could actually change lives, you hesitate. You wait for certainty, you undervalue it. But your adult growth matters just as much, if not more, because now you're investing in something that has the power to bring meaning. So let's normalize putting real money, time, and energy into becoming the version of yourself you know you're capable of being. That's not irresponsible. That's how you raise the value of your entire life. Whenever I set a meaningful goal as an adult, I make the decision up front that I'm going to invest at least $20,000 into learning and mastering that skill. Not because I'm reckless with money, but because I take my growth seriously and I really want to learn it. I want to be immersed in it. I want to be supported through it and stretched by it. Now, I know that not everyone's in a position to invest at that level right now, and that's okay. But if something really matters to you, start seeing it as worth saving for. Put it in your budget, start a fund, shift your energy from I can't afford to learn this or do this to how can I make this possible? Because when you see your growth as worthy of investment, time, money, and energy, you stop treating your goals like hobbies and start treating them like the foundation for your future. We spend thousands, sometimes tens of thousands on things like weddings, vacations, cars without any hesitation. But when it comes to something that could actually transform your future, like learning a life-changing skill or building a business, investing in your growth, you flinch or hesitate, talk yourself out of it, and then wonder why your life stays the same. So here's what I want you to take today. You can't cheapen out on your dream and expect full access. There's no shortcut. You've got to pay the price of admission. And sometimes that price is trusting yourself enough to invest, not because it's guaranteed, but because you know that staying where you are is costing you even more. And you're always paying a price, whether you go for the dream or stay in the familiar, whether you take the leap into something bold or hide behind someday, whether you stretch into the unknown or settle for what's safe. The difference is one path leads to expansion and a life that you're proud of, and the other leads to regret. There's no discount on your dream life. There's no coupon code for courage. Every version of the life you want comes with a price of admission. And that's not to punish you, it's to shape you. It is to show you what you're capable of and to help you become the person who can hold the life you say you want. So the question isn't, is there a cost? The question is, are you willing to pay it, even without feeling ready? Because that's what real transformation asks of you. Not perfection, not certainty, just the courage to take that next step, even when your hands are shaking, to feel the fear and go anyway, to stop waiting for a guarantee and start showing up like your future depends on it, because it does. And you don't need more permission. You don't need more time. You just need to remember you are worth the risk. Every time in every chapter of your life, no matter what. All right, that's what I got in this episode on the price of admission. If you are enjoying the show, remember to subscribe and leave us a 5-star review. It means so much. And before I go, I'm going to leave you with an interview I had with one of our coaches inside Thriving Coach Academy. They're going to share some of their tips for how you can become successful as a coach. Enjoy their story, and I will see you in the next episode.
I am Donna Erickson. As far as life coaching, I kind of think I've been doing it all along and not knowing it. I think when I really realized it, I was teaching at a high school for students with learning differences and teaching guidance courses. And I was realizing how much asking them certain questions was empowering them to figure out what really resonated with them versus what they've been told their whole lives. And then when I moved from that school and moved out of state, I'm like, okay, I think that's where I really have a drive and a passion to help people find their way and what resonates for them without limiting themselves by their past, their experiences, or other people. What I was missing is having that control over my own life and the focus of what I really want to focus on. The types of things, the choices. I had that a little bit in the school I was teaching at, which is not normal, but it just helped me realize I really like choosing what I want to focus on and how I want that path to go. Finding the academy was a journey. I started at the ICF page and identified all the available programs and started doing my research through them all. What really set TCA aside was that they have a focus not only on giving you the skills and the qualifications to be a certified life coach, but they also give you the business skills, how to start your business, how to run your business, how to be successful in it. And I found that was lacking in the other programs. And I felt that was very important to me because I wanted this to be my own business. Initially, I was definitely hesitant. My heart was pounding. Am I going to do this? Am I going to make this decision? Because it's a financial investment. After I thought about it and realized how much money and time I put into my degrees, it really wasn't that significant of an investment. It's kind of funny to look at that in hindsight, but it was relatively small in the big picture of things. I think the biggest thing that drives this particular program is the simplicity, how it is broken down where it's easy to understand, easy to learn, and easy to apply. TCA breaks down both the education part of it as well as the business side of it in a way that helps me be able to develop a credible business and be in a place that I never thought would be possible. I can see easily being able to make $100K or more a year based on what I've learned in the process. And once I do that and I can bring my husband home from his career, then I see taking this on the road because I can do it anywhere. And we will be traveling and enjoying life before we would necessarily have been able to with retirement. So while we can still enjoy it. One thing that I definitely want to acknowledge is Frank, who is so giving and caring and encouraging, and he is there to support us in whatever way we need that. And I can't be thankful enough for that.
Hey, would you like access to powerful coaching tools you can use on yourself and clients right away? For being a listener of the podcast, I'm giving you a VIP guest pass to get a sneak peek into my coach training program. Inside, you'll learn our coach's secret tool they use to transform their clients' lives. And you'll also get a training on how to launch a coaching business. Just head over to www.thrivingcoachacademy.com/VIP to get started. I'll see you on the inside.